Another video. Today we have an interesting card from a customer that shows, oh my goodness, there is some PCIe damage here. I'll take some photos of it. It was sent in by a customer to kind of do a YouTube video showcasing just transplanting the core and the memory, but the PCB damage isn't the only thing that's wrong with this. When I put it on Mats and Mods, one of the memory channels also shows faulty. So it works with this damage, but it's not ideal, and its resale value is going to be way lowered because of that. So for the customer, I'm going to basically take a white Strix PCB and cooler and basically transplant his core and memory onto the white PCB. So that's what this video will be. So the story with this is that there's some circuit board chewing, like almost a dog chewed on it, but not really. It's like got like slammed against something and chipped off and broke here. This appears to be, there seems to be like some bending right here. So this has gone through some physical damage, as well as when I powered it on and put it on Mats and Mods, one of the memory channels showed bad. That could be related to the physical damage where, you know, a shock like that after lots of thermal cycling and tempering of the lead solder or lead-free solder can cause a more brittle thing, a more brittle joint. And so when it hits something, it can break a critical connection under the BGA. So when I put it in Mats and Mods, it shows an issue on one of the channels, and I'm going to guess that when I take off the memory and the GPU and put it on leaded solder and put it on a new circuit board, that it's going to be fine. If it's not going to be fine, then I could catch those issues, especially if it's a failing memory module. I could catch it on NVMT or initializing through mods. So basically this board has been prepared, and it's going to now go for core extraction. Okay, so that's the core off, and very soon we're gonna power on this, and there we go. The orders for the 4090s are going to be have been cut off for September and October, just because of how many I've gotten. I cannot physically do that many before I have to go to China. So I'm going into China for the length of October, and during that time I'm going to be basically building some products and researching some stuff locally there, so I kind of come back with hopefully more things that I can offer through GPU Lab. After that, orders restart for the 4090s in November. Those are going to start shipping again. Okay, so right now we have taken off all the memory and the main GPU core. So we're gonna go ahead and proceed by processing them and getting the pads all cleaned and preparing them for new solder bumps. Also, one of the other things that we need to do is prepare this white Strix circuit board. Just make sure, we're going to take it apart, make sure the circuit board's all ready for removing. Basically make sure all the solder pads on the circuit boards are clean, no other components are knocked off around them, because sometimes that can happen when you're removing memory modules. Okay, so we just put on the memory modules, and now we're going to proceed by preparing the pads for the main GPU core. Okay, so there it is, all lined up. Okay, so the card is finished cooking, and now we take it off and we're gonna test it. So I have the cooler here ready with the stock thermal pads that came with the white Strix card, and then we're gonna use some Shin Itsu thermal paste, which is some really good stuff. Can't say I'm too surprised. The test bench looks like it's having a hard time posting, so this seems like doing some investigative thinking. It seems like the card not only had some physical damage, but probably started with some memory damage, and while the customer or someone in line with the card had experienced the memory damage, they probably got very frustrated and threw it against the wall, further breaking it. So it's probably not only just the physical damage that we initially saw, but also something related to the memory, perhaps, because we've put it onto a new circuit board that was working before. I use these circuit boards, I harvest the 4090s from them to put on new cards. So the circuit board's good. It's probably one of the memory modules. The solder job's solid because I do the exact same thing for the other 4090s that I processed. So here we have the card on a test bench now, and we're going to try to get it on mats and mods and then see what fails to initialize. Okay, so it looks like we have an error on the second bank, so that's going to be B1. The second bank 08, that's B1. Just a little side thing that I found on NVMT, the channel B1 actually shows absolutely nothing. I have never seen this before. It makes me think that like there's no memory module there. Maybe there's something wrong with the power delivery to just that memory module. So I gotta check around on the PCB and make sure that there's no knocked off components or broken traces. I could have sworn before off camera, before I started working with this card, I saw an error on either A1 or B1, and that kind of worries me, because if I see that same error after kind of jumbling up the memory modules, there's like a 1 in 12 chance I put the same incorrect memory module on that similar bank. I don't remember what bank it was, so I don't want to speculate too far, but we saw B1, so now we're gonna basically go and take off that memory module and see if there's any missing capacitors around it, potentially on a circuit board, or if we just replace the whole memory module, that will fix our issue. Okay, so here we have the card. Basically placed that module that was showing a failure, B1. And here we have the card, and now we're gonna place it back on the cooler. Okay guys, we gave it a good few minutes, but it seems like there's a same posting issue that it's not giving us a image. So basically now I'm suspecting that we'll probably see the same issue on that memory module. Just put it back on the Mats and Mods PC. Yeah, darn. So we still see an issue on the second bank B1. That's the exact same module we just replaced with a known good memory module. So at this point, I'm going to basically call this card probably bad. The best thing that we can do is put a new VBIOS on it that disables the B1 channel. It looks like the main problem with this card originally was the fact that there was probably an issue on the core itself. I didn't see any reworking, so it doesn't look like there was any kind of, you know, failed repair attempt. So it looks like the card possibly had an issue with the memory controller on the core itself, and from there it's little that you can do to repair that. You can only disable the channel. Okay, so we're going to take off the VBIOS chips to program them. You can do this when you have issues booting the card, initializing it, especially with things like memory issues or some run VBIOS flash. It's usually a last resort to pull them off. We're going to turn on the fume. Okay, so now that we have the chip programmed, both the chips are programmed with the BIOS that disables the channel B, the B channel. In this case, it looks like the core is bad, so the best thing we can do is just disable one of the channels, so at least the card's still usable. This one might be actually 20 gigabytes, so I'm not sure how the 23 gigabyte thing works, because each of these modules are 2 gigabytes, so there's 12 of them. That means if one of the channels is disabled, that would give you 22 gigabytes, but it's strange, I've seen 23 gigabyte BIOSes, so I'm not sure where those come from or what the deal with that is exactly. But in this case, we're going to disable 2 memory banks because we see a problem on the channel B1. Okay, we got our video signal. Windows is coming up now. Okay, Windows is up. Great, so we are on our test bench right now, and we're gonna wait for the drivers to load, and then we're gonna check out the card. Okay, great. So the driver's loaded. Now we're gonna load up GPU-Z and see what we're dealing with. Okay, what do we have? Okay, so yep, we have a 4090. We have 20 gigabytes of memory. Here are our sensors. Temperature's looking good. So now I'm gonna fire up a memory bandwidth tester. Hey, that's not bad. Look at that. Funny, some of these cards that I get, they come with 23 gigabyte BIOSes. Seems to me you can't just disable one module. One module would eliminate 2 gigabytes. So you see 700 gigabytes per second. On cards that I've seen the 23 gigabyte VBIOS on, again, I'm not sure where that comes from because each of the memory modules is 2 gigabytes. So to disable half of a memory module, I'm not sure how that quite works. That's more advanced kind of NVIDIA service level stuff, but it seems like some AIBs have the option for that because you can download from Tech Power Up unofficial BIOSes that have 23 gigabytes. Now when that happens, you see the memory bandwidth drop to like 600, 650 gigabytes per second. But in this case, because we disabled one whole channel, the B channel, which was showing an issue that would not go away, it seems like we restore some of our memory bandwidth. Here we're seeing 700 gigabytes per second, which is 150 gigabytes per second less than the stock spec. The stock spec is actually what they advertise the most ideal spec is about 1005 gigabytes per second. That's under ideal conditions. That's like the max theoretical that Micron tells the NVIDIA what to expect. But real world, when you load memory tests like Vulkan memtest, you see something around 850 gigabytes per second. So I've seen about 900 sometimes, so 850 to 900 depending on if you're on Linux or whatnot. Realistically, I think I don't know, I've only used one memory tester, and that's this Vulkan memtest, and on Linux it's sometimes a little bit better, like 870, but if you're actually loading the card, that's why you see a little bit lower, around 800. So here we're seeing 700. So this means it's better than losing down to 600, like 250 gigabytes per second. So here we're only losing about 150 gigabytes per second. This means testing it in games, we should not see that much of a performance degradation. I'm going to let this keep going for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to load up a few benchmarks. Like, I think I have Time Spy, and then I also have some kind of Blender tests. Okay, so now that the card has completed some of its benchmarking, I'm going to put it on my main PC that has some better CPU and RAM, and going to game on that for a few hours and just try to see if I notice anything kind of weird or off. So basically, now this card gets taken off of this heatsink. It's going to go in for a wash in our sonic cleaner, and after that it's going to dry and put it back on the card with some Honeywell PTM pads, and after that it's going to be good to go.